Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the science behind the next generation of weight loss drugs. And listen, these are not just another diet fad. They represent a fundamental shift in how we think about medicine. But they also raise a massive question. Are we ready for a solution that might have to last a lifetime?
So let's start with something millions of people know all too well. You know the drill, right? You work incredibly hard, you lose the weight, but then it just creeps back. Well, it turns out that's not a failure of willpower. It's just biology.
And the numbers here are pretty stark. About 80% of weight that's lost is typically regained within just 5 years. And that's because your body literally fights back. Your metabolism slows down, your appetite signals get cranked up to 11. It's a powerful biological drive that makes keeping the weight off for the long term feel almost impossible.
All right, let's get into it. To really get what's happening, we're going to break this down into 5 parts. First, the problem itself. Then, the first big breakthrough. After that, the even more powerful drugs coming next. Then, the really big one, treatment for the long haul. And finally, the new challenges this all creates.
So, first things first, we have to completely reframe the problem. This isn't about a short-term fix. It's about managing a chronic condition, a biological trap. And if the problem is long-term, well, the solution has to be too.
And this is where the whole conversation in science has shifted. As this article puts it, obesity is now understood as a complex, chronic disease. And that change in perspective is everything, because you just don't treat a chronic disease with a short-term fix.
Okay, so that brings us to the first major discovery that changed everything. Instead of fighting against the body's signals, scientists figured out a way to work with them. And that opened up a whole new playbook for treating this chronic disease.
And this is the core science behind it all. It's pretty brilliant, actually. Our bodies have this amazing communication highway called the gut-brain axis. Basically, hormones from your gut send messages up to your brain saying things like, hey, we're full down here. You can stop eating now. So, scientists found a way to hijack this system. They created these drugs called GLP-1 receptor agonists. You've probably heard of semaglutide. Well, what it does is mimic one of those key gut hormones, basically turning up the volume on that I'm full signal going to your brain. And wow, did it work? The results were a total game changer. We're talking an average weight loss of 15 to 17%. That's way beyond what most people could ever achieve with just lifestyle changes, and it proved this whole hormonal approach was the real deal.
But you know how science works, right? They didn't just stop there. They started asking, what if targeting just one hormone was only the beginning? And that question is taking us to a whole new level of effectiveness.
So the thinking was simple, but kind of brilliant. If hitting one hormonal pathway is good, what happens if we hit 2 or even 3 at the same time? It's like going from a single key that opens one lock to a master key that can open a bunch of them all at once. And you can literally see the effect right here. It's like a staircase of progress. You add a second hormone target, GIP, with a drug called tirzepatide, and boom, the average weight loss jumps all the way up to 22.5%.
And then came the triple agonists. Drugs like retatrutide target not 2, but 3 different hormones involved in energy balance. And look at that number, a staggering 24.2% average weight loss in trials. I mean, we're now talking about results that start to look like what you see from bariatric surgery.
So these results they're absolutely revolutionary. But this leads us to the most critical part of this entire explainer, and it brings us right back to our theme, long duration. Because this is not a one-and-done treatment. Not even close.
So here is the crucial takeaway. These drugs manage the chronic disease of obesity. They do not cure it. Think of it like glasses for poor eyesight. They work perfectly, but only while you're wearing them. Take them off, and the underlying condition is still there.
And if you want to see the proof, just look at the SURMOUNT-4 trial. It's crystal clear. While people were on the drug, they lost over 21% of their weight. The ones who stayed on it, they kept losing. But the group that switched to a placebo, they regained a ton of weight back, because the second the drug was gone, the body's biology just kicked right back into gear.
The study's authors spell it out for us right here. The benefits only last as long as the treatment does. This isn't a temporary fix, it's a long-term, maybe even lifelong commitment, just like you take medication for high blood pressure for the rest of your life.
So, this powerful new reality, this idea of a lifelong treatment for millions of people, it opens up a whole new set of really tough questions. We're talking about huge challenges for medicine, for our healthcare systems, and honestly, for society as a whole. I mean, while the upside is obvious, there are still a lot of unknowns. We need more data on safety over decades,
not just a few years. How do we make sure that everyone who needs these drugs can actually get them and afford them for that long? And how in the world do our healthcare systems even begin to manage something on this massive scale?
And that really leaves us with the final big thought. For the very first time, it feels like we have a medical key that perfectly fits the biological lock of obesity. But the question is, can we as a society afford to make a copy of that key for everyone who needs one for the rest of their lives?